Texas legislature last week passed a bill that would criminalize inappropriate touching by TSA agents in airports anywhere in Texas. So, in retaliation this week, the Federal Department of Justice announced that if Texas goes forward with the plan, the Justice Department will impose a no-fly zone over the entire state, closing every airport in Texas. Joining me now is the co-sponsor of that bill, and he's not going to back down to the DOJ's threats. Here now, Texas State Representative David Simpson. Representative Simpson, welcome here. So,
thank you, Judge.
You guys are not known for being easily intimidated by anybody, whether it's the neighbors to the south or big government to the north. How was this threat from federal bureaucrats received in the Texas State House earlier this week?
Well, this legislation was passed unanimously by the Texas House. It went over to the Senate. We had about 31 senators on board. That's pretty much unanimous. And then at the 11th hour, this inaccurate Department of Justice letter showed up, and a number of the senators fell for the bluff. It said that basically that they would impose a stay if the legislation was enacted, or that they would shut down some flights or a series of flights here in Texas.
All right, let me get this straight. The legislation is not to ban the TSA. The legislation is not to prevent the TSA from looking for box cutters and bombs and anything else that would harm us. The legislation is intended to apply to the TSA the same standards that are applied to everybody else in Texas. Thou shalt not touch the private parts of another person in public without the consent of that other person. Do I have this right?
That's right. We're just trying to draw a reasonable line for unreasonable searches. You've got to draw it somewhere. It's either your private parts or a body cavity, and the Texas House said it's our private parts. But the TSA or the Department of Justice said, well, you know, unless we touch your privates, you're not going to fly. And that's just outrageous.
All right, how do you see this ending? Will the Texas Senate get its gumption back? I know the governor is on your side. Certainly the people are on your side.
Well, it's at a late hour right now. There are possibly ways to do it, but it would probably have to come up in a special session. But whatever happens, it's very encouraging. The overwhelming number of Texans and Texas legislators support the Texas that Sam Houston fought for and governed, a Texas that has yet to learn submission from any source, come from what may.
All right. Representative David Simpson, fighting to preserve the bodily integrity of everybody in Texas against monster government. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Judge.
A judge rules the unions.